MVP Coffee Party.
I was born to eliminate.
Hello. I have on the microphone and over Skype for Business many persons. Raphael Kölner. No, we have to look for the wife first. Sara Barbosa, Markus Freccia, and Raphael Kölner. Hello.
Hello from Germany.
Yes, two MVPs from Germany. And you have over two MVPs from Brazil. But we are now, or you are now, in Germany. Tell me a little bit about what your MVP status is, how long you are in the status. We begin with Sara.
Sure. Okay, so as of now, our MVPs still remain as Brazilian MVPs. I don't think we have switched to be a German MVP. I don't think we are ready yet.
Yes, I agree.
But let's see in the coming months, because maybe something will change it. But for now, if I would say, we are still Brazilian MVPs.
Okay. And in which category?
In Berlin, have four MVPs from Brazil.
Yes. And category, yes. My category is data platform. So originally I was a SQL Server MVP.
Okay.
And then later they grouped the technologies, and now I am a data platform, which is SQL Server, BI, data science, and everything else. But my expertise is SQL Server.
Yeah,
and you, Sara?
And me, I have been an Office 365 MVP for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, I received my first award in 2012. Yeah, before it, I was MSP. Do you know MSP, Microsoft Student Partner?
Yeah. I'm also Microsoft Student Partner.
Yeah, oh, nice. And I work with Office 365, but my expertise is SharePoint, SharePoint Server, and SharePoint Online.
Perfect,
Cool.
perfect.
So we have 3 Office Server and Services MVPs.
Yes.
Yes.
And you have to learn.
and 1 out of the Microsoft Student Partner program.
Oh, perfect.
Very nice.
And one insider MVP.
Oh yeah.
One insider.
Nice.
So
Too much MVPs. No, it's right. Okay.
How many years
yes,
are you MVPs?
since 2013. That means 5.
Okay.
Yes, 4, and this year I hope I'm in the renew. So we will see. I hope this year is my.
Yes, me too. I have the same feeling. I'm not sure yet if I will be MVP.
They changed
after
the
July
period this year.
Yes.
So normally I'm a June MVP. So we will see. But I think we do a lot of things like this podcast or websites, blogs, session speaking. So
That's
I hope
right.
it's enough.
So I was a January MVP. That means I have 1.5 year to renew.
Yeah, I was from April. I am from April, Howard, but because in the last April of 2016, it was a automatic renewal for the MVPs. My contributions now will be looked for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
So tell me, what are doing two Brazilian guys, two Brazilian MVPs, a couple here in Germany?
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, first thing, we wanted to try, I think, something outside our home country, right, Sara?
Yeah.
First thing, we were looking for trying and being very honest. German was not the first the first option for us, right?
Our first option was always US.
Yeah, because we know that like for Microsoft things and everything, United States like looks promising in terms of technology and everything. But then I think it was November 2016, this opportunity to come to Germany and working for a German company came to me, and that's where we are currently. So I am working for a company based in Berlin, and I think one of the things that I decided to come to German, I think the first one was the desire to have an experience where living outside your home country. I think that's the first option. Mm-hmm. But the second one was to have an experience of working for European companies. I have worked in the past for Brazilian companies, American companies, but never worked for German or even a European. So I think that's a good experience that I can add to my CV.
Yeah, and a good option for learn other language, Dutch, for example.
So I see you have a great tour with many flights in Brazil. I have looked at you. We met us together first time 2 years ago at Betighton in US in Kirkland.
Yes, correct. In 2014, yes. I think, right?
Yeah. And then again, okay, at the summit and so on, but I never have realized. And I looked on these many flights you see on Facebook. You have a great tour to call to all people. It's not, we in Europe do not see that great distances. That is very interesting to see. You fly from one to other only to say, hey, bye, we go to Germany.
Yes.
Because in Germany it's so much sun, it's warm.
For sure. I agree. We agree with that.
We have in the winter we have 20 grad Celsius. I don't know the English word in this time.
Degrees, yes.
Degrees. Degrees. Thank you, Hans. 20 degrees in the winter, and we have a lot of beach. In Germany, no. but it's fine. From Cologne, we have 300 kilometers to the Netherlands, and so there's a nice beach, and in my opinion, a lot of more sun than in Germany, but I think it's only in my opinion.
If you arrive in Frankfurt and going to Berlin with the next flight, you are coming and we have snow in Berlin. Is this right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Sarah?
Yeah.
And I saw on Facebook the pictures. You are a little bit. Sara is a little bit frozen the first days here in Germany.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I think in the first day, weather is 3 degrees. Yeah.
Yes, 3 degrees.
3 degrees, and São Paulo 13 degrees.
we left São Paulo was. It's still summer. I mean, now the season changed, but when we left São Paulo, it was still summer. So was making hot, and was making like 30 degrees, sometimes more.
Mm-hmm.
And how many luggage do you have for your transfer to the new world? How many?
Me, two large, and
one is only with shoes, huh?
Yeah, two large for me, and one small. Three totally. and Marcos, the first... totally. I think of big, 4 big, and 2 small. 6 totally.
And you have a room or an apartment or a hotel for the first weeks?
Yes, the company.
The first month.
Yeah, for the first month, the company that I am working currently, they provided to us some
Flat?
sort of a flat with everything included. So in the first month, we kind of had something already very well planned for spending the first month in Berlin.
Yeah.
And then you decided to go to have your own room and all these things.
Yes. I think that's good. Now we have our own apartment and we are still very slow on that, but buying the new furnitures and everything else.
Yeah.
It's a new beginning.
When you have time and visit Berlin, come with apartment, visit us, and maybe I will cook for you.
Ah, or not. You have to cook and tell us in German. You have to know, Raphael, you have to know. Sara is going 3 times a week in the morning to school to learn German.
4 times. Yeah,
4 times, sorry.
Yeah.
4 times. So
in German,
you will say something in German.
In German, I think cooking is kochen? Kochen? I don't know.
Kochen, yeah, kochen.
Kochen,
Yeah.
That's it. I know many words in German. I'm a baby.
So now you have a room, you have all the stuff, you have also a TV.
Yesterday, Marcos bought one TV, and I think in the next week I will have.
So then you have to learn all the vocabulary, you have to look in your free time, or during your cooking, then you have to look and learn the vocabulary. That's the best one you can do. So I think the technical stuff, if you have a webcast or see something in English, that's not the great problem. The problem is to speaking all these typical German things, der, die, das, and all the other things
very
we
difficult.
know.
Yeah.
That's very difficult, and I cannot say the rules. We have done it via Facebook, so I cannot change the rules. That's German.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the difficult language in the world, I think. I have a good friend out of Russia, from my school days, and we visited 10 years ago. We talked about German and the Russian language, and they say, okay, no, German is more difficult because of these der, die, das, and like the or in English, and all of these. Is it female? Is it not? It's difficult in between of Spain and Italian and English and
It's difficult.
In the Netherlands we have a mix out of German, English, and French, and that's what the people in the Netherlands speak. So in Germany,
That does is difficult, but numbers is difficult too.
Numbers, okay. 1, 2, 3.
So
and you live one sentence, and you live in Berlin. You have the Berliner Schnauze, like the Berlin slang, like.
I have heard about it. Yes.
Yeah. And for example, you have to come for the carnival in Cologne, and so if you will come, this is an invitation. And you will have 3 days or 4 days of carnival in Cologne. It's not be like in Brazil, but I know some of our carnival clubs went to Brazil and make party in this time. So so the Brazils went to Cologne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if in Junho have parties or other fests? Because we will visit Con in Junho.
In June.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And during the day... Sorry?
I think Marcos is a speaker.
No? I don't know yet
Only,
if I will be
event?
speaking. Next month in Cologne there is the SQL Saturday.
Yeah.
I have just subscribed. I have sent some presentations, but I'm not sure if I will present or not because there was many applications for it. So let's see it. But if I'm not going to speak, at least I will be at the event. And spending some time in Cologne.
Yeah.
Very cool. Send me an email.
Yes.
We will.
Yes.
And during the day, Marcos, what's the language do you speak with the other persons at the company?
At the company specifically, it's English. So I know, and other colleagues told me that it's not something common for a company in German, for sure, to be the first language English. But this one is it's a little bit different. So English is like the official language that we use in the company. Even if like there is a meeting where mostly of the people understand German or speak German, they still push the meeting to be in English. So
that's cool because it's international. Okay, SQL Server and a trigger is a trigger. I know a little stuff of all the behind the scenes, but it's not only to see that and the team meetings. It's a little bit special. And if German have to be an English meeting, it's a little bit slower. That means you have not the issue to follow the person who's talking about the German words, because if you are speaking very quick, it's a little bit complicated.
Yes, that's right. No, I think the good thing about it is we can speak a little bit slower and everyone understands, and it's easier for everyone in the room.
And you learn German too? Yes, if you both together, you speak Brazilian or Portuguese, or what's the language you speak?
Yeah. In Brazil, we speak Portuguese. I mean, it's the same. It's almost the same Portuguese as in Portugal, but we have derivations from the Portuguese that is spoken in Portugal. We have some kind of adjustments for Brazilian Portuguese.
Okay. So the first thing is you have, let's say, 1 hour after you arriving from the company, arriving at home, you have to speak, not at the first thing. You can go to Sara and speak with her in Portuguese. But after half an hour, then you have to change the language and try to speak at least 1 hour in German. So that's a very, very interesting, not the whole evening, you don't have that. But the choice is although to speak at this language, the first thing you learn it very, very quick if you try to do it in another language. You know you can speak in English, that's perfect, but also try it in German. Only 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, or later on 1 hour. The quicker you do it, the better it is. Because you speak English in the company and coming home and speak Portuguese, for you it's a little bit problem. Sara may have for the days in German with language, and you have to give him the chance to follow him. Therefore, you have to say, if he asks us in Portuguese, and answer it in German. So that's a very interesting thing. Then Marcos is learning the vocabulary very, very quickly.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hans.
So now you are 2 months, and I've seen last month or last week you are traveling a little bit outside of Berlin.
Yes. We'll going to Dresden. I spent two days in Dresden. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful city. I will back to Dresden and went back to Berlin. I spent 5 hours in Leipzig.
Okay.
I say Leipzig or Leipzig in German.
Leipzig.
I don't know.
Leipzig. That's correct.
Leipzig?
Yep, Leipzig is correct.
Oh, okay.
With
And,
a nice city.
Yeah. I like too, but I like Dresden more. But I like Leipzig too.
Yes, I saw your pictures on Facebook. That's history. That's a German history, and
Yes.
you know, that's the east part of Germany. Leipzig, Dresden is east part, and Cologne and Stuttgart is the west part.
Yeah.
So that's a different, and we have some historical monuments. You saw it also in Berlin with Checkpoint Charlie and all these things you have visited. So that was very interesting. Raphael, do you know there was a spy? No, I have no idea. You were in a museum for spionage, Raphael.
Spying. Yeah.
For spying, the spying museum.
It's in Leipzig.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
No, in
Leipzig.
Berlin.
In Berlin.
In Berlin. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know it. I was it. Last year? Yeah. Last year at a conference we visited the Museum of Spy. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I know you can buy today a lot of these things, and it's the older one, the newer ones, but for spying in this time you only need a PC and access to to Azure, AWS or Google Cloud, and you need the right tool.
That's right. Yeah. I think in the past it was a little bit difficult to be a spy.
Yeah. So in my daily business, security is one of the three big topics. And I have a workshop with students 3 weeks ago about spying via their PC and their laptop and their phones, and we have honeypots and use Kali Linux distribution for we sent an exploit to an Android phone, and we can see all the short messages, the pictures, the text, the emails, and this is horrible, but it works.
Interesting. And how long it took to hack the Android?
For an Android phone, 3 minutes.
Whoa.
To build the exploit and to get the exploit on the phone, 3 minutes.
That's
and it's
fast.
horrible.
And you tried also for the other platforms, or just Android was the target?
No, you have different exploits for the different platforms. But for example, Windows 7 without a firewall you need 5 minutes. With firewall you need 10 to 15 minutes. 20 minutes. Windows XP is much more easier. 30 seconds without firewall and 3 minutes with firewall. So and Windows 10, no, we don't get access. But we will test, and I'm in connection with the security team and the Windows engineering team. So I give feedback and say, okay, that could be a hole in your security system. But with Windows ATP and Office 365, Advanced Tweet Protection, all of these things, I think it's a good solution for security. But for every company, I think you talked about you work at a company here in Germany, an international company. Oh, it's a big international company, reseller, we say, or and I think security is also a topic. Like in my company or Hans' company or companies we are consulting, and that's one of the topic. And in my opinion and for you, the law topic in Germany and the data privacy topic is very, very big.
You have to know. I have to say. Raphael is also our lawyer. That means if you have and post some pictures, let's say the Brandenburger Tor, Yeah, Sara is making some pictures, and you have to know: is it possible to do it on Facebook? You have to ask Raphael; he knows all this stuff. The problem is, let me explain. You know the Eiffel Tower in Paris?
Yes.
So if you go and make a selfie with the Eiffel Tower in the background, you see the Eiffel Tower during a day. There are different copyright if you're doing during the night. Sara and the background of the Eiffel Tower. And Raphael can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have a session last year, I think, about it. Yeah, that's some interesting points because the designer of the lights and the light solution and the view and all of these things have their own rights, and we have a lot of law cases about it, about pictures from the Eiffel Tower or pictures from trains, from the Kölner Dom. We have a lot of law cases with it. So yeah,
be
it's
careful.
Very, very interesting. be careful, but. Yeah, you can make a picture and don't share it. So, but in this time, every person and every child have a smartphone.
Yes.
Make pictures, share it on Instagram, on Twitter, and
almost impossible to control, right?
Yeah, it's as a parent, it is horrible. And also the normal person, the adults, for example, also the lawyers. I know a lot of lawyers in Germany. They share pictures and they don't think about it. So,
but Rafael, for me, it's very interesting to know that because I have no idea really. But for example, like you said, pictures of trains or pictures of like for the Berliner Dom, for example, like what is what is the problem that like can happen with someone, or what specifically you cannot do in terms of taking pictures, because like you cannot take a picture, for example, of some information of the train, for example. If you post that, you can get a sued. What is the thing?
The protected is the copyright law of the design, and we have in Germany 70 years. The design and all of this is protected by the copyright law, and but for the normal person, the companies don't track or pursue it, but it can happen. So be careful. It's not easy to say. You have to decide from case to case. So we have a lot of discussion in Germany about it, and about the copyright law and change of the copyright law, because in Germany and in the whole of Europe, we have the European law and the national law, and we have sometimes, not in the copyright law, but sometimes we have special law in Berlin that's only is for Berlin, and we have special law for North Rhine-Westphalia, and all in the connection with the European law and the national law. So, for example, and I think you will work with it in the next year, is the data privacy law, the European data privacy. GPDR. GPDR. Thank you, Hans. Contract, and I think I have a lot of questions about it. How we can work with data. For example, here secret server, big data questions. How we can work with it. How we can share it. In which country we have to work with the data, or we can work with the data. We have to ask the people. For example, I think for every company, it's very interesting to have data about their customer. For example, what they tweet, what they think, where they are. For example, we have an example with Microsoft Listening out of the Office 365 products with Microsoft Listening and Microsoft Social Listening and Dynamics Online, for example. You can connect Dynamics Online with your customer data with Microsoft Listening, and for example, you send a tweet like, "Oh, this is a nice car. I want to drive it, and this is a BWM." I hope you know it.
Yes,
it's
I know
a big
it,
company and the big car builder company in Germany. And for example, you tweet it, and 2 minutes later you get an email with an offer and an address for the next shop. And
for buying one.
So buy one for 5,000 5,000 euro, or for 50,000 euro, or for 500,000 euro, and so that's a typical case, for example, and so the IT is faster than the law, and that's one of my topics.
For the pictures, to complete the story, for the pictures, you can make a picture and do it your own. That was not a complicated. But if you make an appointment or have some people and do it commercial, you have to
that's what I was thinking. I mean, if you want to use that to sell your work, for example, I think that's where you may have problem.
Yep. So perfect. Now we have, you see, that's the thing. An Office 365 lawyer, he has all of the things, and it's very interesting to have these lawyer section with copyrights. It's very interesting. It's a small one, and you think, no, it's not perfect world. It's not a perfect world. So that's although you have to do it when you have to look about that. How long will you stay? Then there's another question in Germany. What's the plans?
Do you want to speak, Sara?
How long? I think
we don't have plans for now. I mean, one thing is, Rams.
I don't have. We don't have a deadline.
Yes,
right?
Yes, we don't have a deadline. Maybe once we travel to the entire Europe, maybe and get to know all the places, then maybe we can find something else. But for now, I think we are good in here. I think we have a lot to learn, a lot about the culture, the language, everything. So for now, I would say we are going to stay here for some time.
It's a perfect thing.
I agree.
It's the culture is a lot of problem. The culture, people don't understand outside from Europe. That's a different culture we have in Germany. If you go 200, 300 kilometers to the south from Berlin, or 400, you are in a different culture land. So sometimes the language is also different. If you have in Bayern and speaking some dialect there and speaking with northern people, northern from Berlin, they don't understand it because it's German. No, it's not German. It's two different languages. Don't understand it. So,
And also I have heard that, I'm not sure, and you can tell to us if that's right or not, but I also heard that if you go to Bavaria, it's also it's still a German language, but it's still very different.
It's the same. It depends. If you go to Munich and speak to a person on the street, yes, you understand it in German. But if we go a little bit outside to the small village, to the smallest village in there, let's say 50, 80 kilometers to the south or to the west from Munich, outside from the big cities, they have special languages I also do not understand, and Raphael the same. So that's the same if you go to Cologne and have a typical Cologne people. He only speaks this language, this dialect. You do not understand. I do not understand. Raphael?
I do not understand too. I come from Düsseldorf, so Cologne people and Düsseldorf people are different, and they have a little fight against each other because they have. Two of the Düsseldorf and the Cologne people have their own carnival. In Düsseldorf we say Hilau, and in Cologne we say Alaf. So that's very complicated, and we drink different beers.
But it's only it's only the language now. You offer drinking for beer or something else.
Drinking beer, say another things. We are carnival, and Düsseldorf is the main city. Speaking English, I need more practice. So we need more podcasts in English.
Yes.
And Düsseldorf is the main city of North Rhine-Westphalia, and Cologne. Yeah. No.
Yes, but the language is only the first thing of a culture.
Yeah.
To have different culture, we have different countries here in Germany. That means that North Rhine-Westphalia or Berlin or Bavaria. So the people are different. And that means you have a different culture. And the US, if you speak to people in Texas, yes, you don't understand it. That's a little bit problem about they have only some potatoes in the mouth, and therefore you don't understand it. But it's English. So if you go to and speak with people from San Francisco, from California, or going to New York, that's the same. The American is not so reflecting, and it's a big country. It's not so reflecting. They also have some dialects, and they also have a different culture, but it's not so a big difference we here have in Germany. In these small countries we have, like Brazil, and we can have the Germany so often in Brazil, but that's a different. We have a different culture, and the people outside from Europe don't understand that is so possible.
Yeah, in Brazil too. In Brazil have a different culture. When you change the state, you speak with other people, and other people I don't understand Portuguese because I speak a South Portuguese. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, if you want, it's like slangs. If they have their own, it's not like their own language. It's still Portuguese, but if you are from the south of Brazil, for example, and you try to speak with someone from the northeast or the north, each one of them have their own slangs.
Yeah,
and that's where the problem comes, because I am talking with my slangs, and they also use theirs, so nobody understands each other.
For example, I'm from Goiânia. Is a city central of Brazil, and Marcos.
I am from the south.
The south, and when I met the Marcos, I speak with him, and I'm so funny because Marcos say any words, and I don't understand anything.
So I have the perfect way. If you have to go on the journey vacation, you have to go to Portugal. That's very interesting because they're speaking.
Very, yeah. I think for people like us that speaks Portuguese, it's very interesting to see the differences in the language.
Yeah.
Perfect. And after 2 months, I think 2 months now, it's okay. How do you feel now in Germany?
Good question.
Good question. That's a very good question. To be honest, in the beginning, is a little bit difficult because you are far from your home, you are far from your friends, you are far from everything that you always knew. So everything that you have in here, it's like it's new for you. So it's the feeling is like if you was born again. If you are just a kid that you are trying to understand everything looks so complicated. I think that's the impression that we have for the first months. Besides everything that we see in difference that we had in Brazil and what we are having here, like in terms of infrastructure, prices of the things that we want to buy, things like that, food, everything. But the thing is, you are far from the people that you love, from the people that you always wanted to be near. I think that's something very different. I mean, the country, the city is very good, but sometimes you feel that it could be better if someone from your family could be around or something like that. But I think that's something that I could expect, because we are just 2 months here in Berlin, but I hope to, in maybe 6 months, to have another opinion.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree with Marcos. And for me, my first month is difficult because in São Paulo, Brazil, I work in an office, and in Berlin, I work in home office, and I don't have colleagues here, so I am always alone, and is very difficult in the first month. But now I'm feeling very well. I have a new friends in my German course.
Yeah.
And
I think it's all about for you to make friends, because if you try to come here and be like just you, even if like Sara and myself, we are married, we have each other, but we still need to get to know other people, to make friendship and everything else. So I think what will help us, and I think that's something that everyone will face if they change their city, or they even their countries. I think something they need to do is like try to get new friends, try to get to know other people.
Yeah, one thing to help us with is you has and there in Berlin two other Brazilian friends,
yes.
And move in the same month,
almost
the same month, and will help us with adoption here.
Sure, that's the best thing. And although the MVPs, we have several MVPs in Berlin. And that means, yes, there are meetups, there are some locations you have also seen at Microsoft in Berlin. That's a nice location. And we have to bring up, and you have to connect again to Michael Greth. Michael Greth is our great podcaster around now. He makes so many things with videos and so on. And he is open for all these people because he makes it very, very longer than me. And he knows so many people at Microsoft. He knows all about that. Therefore, you have to connect with him. That's the very interesting. Then you are open to all the people. Yes, the Microsoft-minded people. Let's say that at an MVP. And to MVPs, it's easy. You know about my visit in Berlin with Flo. That's very interesting. The MVPs have the same mindset, a little bit one. So it's for you a little bit easier to understand. And if you speak some words, therefore you have to train that, some words in German, it's very easy. And you are in a great city. That means you have all cultures of the world in Berlin. Yep. Yeah. That's the other thing. So you can do it, but most of the people, the immigrants, and they come in, have a problem. They also have to speak only their own Arabian or something Syrian language, and that's a problem. To learn the language is the first thing. If you speak the language, you can connect to all people. So there too, and have a little Italy, a little Arabian, a little Egypt or whatever in Berlin, that's okay. But the problem is to give your mind open. For me, it's speak the language, try to speak it very, very often, and then connect to the people. Then all things are open for you.
That's right.
Yeah, I will do.
So, back to IT. I have also some questions about you and your daily IT life. So, example, the first one is, I'll think about it. Okay, your first PC or your first operating system, and what is your current PC or laptop, or is it a Mac? Is it all of this? And the second one is, what do you think about the Surface laptop and what is announced in the last days about Windows S and Surface laptop and all of these things? Do you need it, or is it more a nice try, or
So I saw many reviews about it, In my opinion, the Surface laptop is great. I like the design, color options, but in my opinion, Windows 10s don't. I think it doesn't work. I don't like so much because I can't imagine install any apps.
Yep.
And after you have paid $900. Do you remember the first Surface RT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have two. I have three. I have had three. Now one is broken, but now I have still two with all this stuff. It's only for TV showing and going into the internet.
Yeah. When I saw Surface laptop, I remember of the Surface RT.
So the difference is it's an x86 processor. That means you can run Windows 10 Pro. So that's for the issue. You can change it. For me, it was the wrong time to announce this laptop because no student has $990 for that thing, for the school. They have to say, yes, we have $200 and it's okay for all OEM products. Then they have to show it and make another event for the Surface laptop. I know it's only a small amount. Yes, you have some students with Apple things and so on. It was also a high price. But for me, it was not the right decision to have this Surface laptop shown as the education start.
I agree. I was talking about that with colleagues at today at work, and we were saying the same thing. I mean, it's not every student that has $900 US dollars for buying a Surface, or even, I mean, anything. It's like too much money for a student, and it's not affordable.
I work with a school here near Cologne, and I have a session yesterday on the Cloud and Data conference, and I spoke with with the city, with a huge city and an IT guy from the city, and with the IT guy from the school, and both say that's awesome. They say that is really awesome because they need laptops. We see the reseller price. The reseller price isn't $900 or €1,000. That's much cheaper. So if you get the laptop via Edu reseller, it's cheaper, and you have the options for Acer, Dell, HP, and all of these. That's much more cheaper. And I talk with these guys, and the school guys say, okay, that's great if the price is okay, like €500, €600, €700, and this around, they will buy it, and they love it with Windows S, because they only want that the students in the PC pool, or when they give the laptops to the students, they can only open one app. They can don't have administration rights. They don't need to open another app. They only want to open the app they need for the session or for the school. They need Wi-Fi access for the school Wi-Fi and all of this. And they told me, okay, since 6 years they use it called Kaiserkarten. That is a company, I think, in the near of Berlin. They produce hardware stuff for school PCs, and the solution is every time the students or the students go out of their classroom or out of their PC pool, the PC restart and reinstall. Completely new install, so the next class get a fresh and clean Windows system. And so I think it's great. For example, we have some teacher that say, okay, we need the free upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. That's fine for us. With Windows 10 Pro, we can get the little spying software, so we can see what the students do on their laptop. And that's fine for them, and they can use. I tested with one of these teachers, Intune for Education, and there's only some clicks, and you can you can share software via the Windows Store for Business. So you have another browser or you have a special software, you can share it via the store on the laptops, and you can manage the updates and upgrades and all of these things, and say make it more easier. They have two or three offers in this system, but they think that's a great issue that the teacher or the IT guy is almost the teacher can work in school. And on the other side, I hear the same thing from the guy from the city, or they talk to me and say, hey, that's great, because also the employees in the city don't need access to the system, they only need access to their 18 or 20 programs, and they don't want to access because they have a lot of problems. The guys install Dropbox or use WhatsApp, and they don't want to they want that the employees use it, and say with Windows S they can't install, or they can't break the admin password and install something. So I think for this market it is great, but for us,
Raphael,
we are the IT pro guys.
Yes.
We need Windows Enterprise.
But Raphael, the problem is a difference. We spoke about the laptop, and we spoke about the running operating system. Windows S is a completely new thing to connect very, very quick, and you have your own profile. So although in Office 365 you have Teams, and Teams are so special for education because people want to have it. So in a low price segment, because you have so many schools and the schools have no money, therefore it's a good idea to have that. But the laptop doesn't fit in this program. Therefore, that was my opinion. That Windows S is a very interesting thing because it has a building around that, and therefore it's a good thing. But you also have a question, and I have to ask Sara or Marcos. What was your first computer you have in your hand in your life?
That's an embarrassing question for me, because if I say my age to you guys, I am so new that my first PC was already with Windows XP, and you see, I mean, all the other guys that I talk with, they say that their first PC was like with Windows NT, Windows 4, very old versions, and mine was Windows XP. So it's funny, but I remember my first PC, if I'm not wrong, was one from that my brother used it to use, and then when he did not want it anymore, he gave to me. It was a Pentium Celeron, so you can imagine how fast it was. But it was with Windows XP.
Today no, but was.
Yes, it was like that. No, today my laptop it's very good. If I would say it's like maybe if I'm not wrong, 26 GB memory SSD. So it's very different from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't remember the hardware, but I remember the system. I think Windows 98 is my first PC. And 98. And I use my PC for play the games. I don't remember the game, but I like the. Let me talk with Marcos in Portuguese.
Flight Simulator.
Campo Minado.
The Mined Camp or something like that. That very standard game that came with Windows.
Yeah. I don't know.
A Minesweeper.
Yeah, that's the one.
Minesweeper. You mean Minesweeper? Okay. yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's cool. Okay, and your current device is a Surface Book or an HP EliteBook or I think for SQL Server you need a book with more power.
Yes. But to be honest, nowadays I don't use my laptop for running SQL Server because I do use Azure.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Big question: as a service or within VM or both? Or
both. Because I mean, sometimes I have to test something. Currently at the company, for example, we are just using SQL Server in a VM. So I still need to run SQL Server as in a VM for my testing. But for playing around, seeing new stuff, I do use SQL as a service as well. But I mean, I think the good thing about Azure is that you don't need anymore to have maybe a powerful PC because you can bring a VM very quickly.
Yeah, I have a Surface Pro 1. And my PC is Azure, my data center. It's Azure.
Yeah. It's a very good data center, I would say.
Yeah. And you use the European one or we have an Azure in Brazil? Yes, I think yes.
We have data center in there.
Or you use it in Germany. We have in Germany the new one since a year, Hans? I think a year. Yeah.
I never use it. The German offering for the Azure, I didn't use yet. I know that Sara created an account.
I create a trial account in last month, and but I create basically would like to see the service availability in Azure, German Azure, because in Brazil I have my subscription, MVP subscription from MSDN, and I use the tenant in Brazil because I have more service.
So we have to speak with the German people about transferring your Brazilian the MVP status to Germany or something else, because if you connect to Brazil, it's very, very slow. The latency times and so on.
Yeah, I create Hans, I create the machines, for example, in any data centers. I could create in Europe or in USA, and don't have. I don't remember if it's low. Is okay for use.
Perfect.
But I if necessary in the next year I could change the location.
Okay.
But today is okay, not slow.
Yeah, that's not a problem. You don't have to hurry up. We have a little time of July next year. Then we have to look for that. Therefore, you can acclimate. Then you know the words in German, and then you can study in Germany, whatever you want. Yes, that's perfect.
Yes. I have also a new question. Comes in my mind, and so you see some difference between digitalization of Brazil and the German, and we have a lot of issues with Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi in trains and airplanes and Wi-Fi hotspots, free Wi-Fi hotspots, and all of these things start with this and ends with the IT in the company. In Germany we say we wait. We are not the guys. They need all the new stuff. Okay, we are MVPs. We need all the new stuff.
Yes.
And we need the Surface laptop, and we need. I have Raspberry Pis and Dragon boards on my next to me here, and three Windows phones and all of this.
Whoa.
But in the real life, the companies in Germany has Windows 7. They don't have a touch device. They don't have free Wi-Fi, the digital transformation is not so fast. And Hans and me, we are some guys, and also Torben, our MVPKaffeeklatsch colleague, and a lot of MVPs say in Germany we travel from company to company, from conference to conference, say, okay, we need this. I founded a startup for HoloLens, for 3D application building and all of this. And what do you think? The difference between Brazil and Germany?
Sure. One thing that I see, if I would say like hotspots, internet on public things, I think it's good. For example, like we have here, for example, for the public transportation, we have free hotspots. And I think it works very, very well from my perspective. That's very different in Brazil. For example, it's not common for you to go to a public, like to the U-Bahn, for example, in Brazil, and in the station for you to have free hotspots. That's something that you don't get in there. But one thing which we found that it's very different. It's like, and to be honest, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but maybe it's just different for us. It's like, for example, when we moved to our new apartment, we wanted to set up internet. It took 1 month for us to have internet. When I was telling friends about that, the friends that are living here in Germany already, they said, no, it's okay, it's normal. 1 month. Mine took longer. But when I said the same to friends in Brazil, they said, oh my God, how can you live without internet for 1 month? Because in Brazil, for example, if you ask for internet, if you want a provider, 3 days at most you have internet at your home. So things like that, it's my first impressions. So far, the quality of the internet...
Is it in all... Marcos, one question. Is it in all towns or only in the big cities in Brazil?
You have internet almost everywhere in Brazil. What it will depend is the quality and the speed that they offer. For example, in small villages, something like that, you still have internet, but the speed it's very slow. But they still offer. But I don't know for sure. There will be places, but I don't know places in Brazil where we don't have internet yet, even with slow speed. But for example, like waiting 1 month, it was normal for us. It was, I mean, it's delayed a little bit, but it was okay because, like I said, we find in here hotspots in everywhere, right? So even near to our home, we had a Vodafone hotspot. We just bought internet and we could use it. So that.
You can buy for one day or 1 week or 1 month. It was
very easy for us, things like that. And those facilities, you don't have that easily in Brazil. That's a good thing. In the other hand, for example, one thing that we are seeing here in Berlin, at least, because we don't know how is like IT in other cities like Frankfurt, Munich, but here in Berlin, at least, most of the companies, they are very open source mind. And when we talk about Microsoft, it seems like Microsoft is years
ago.
Yes. Like in Brazil, cloud, for example, if you talk about Microsoft Azure in Brazil, it's not something that people are still afraid or surprised by the technology, or they are afraid to put their data in the data center. Here, at least in Berlin, in my perspective, is that when you talk about Azure, it's like, no, Microsoft, no. We want like, we want another cloud provider. And Microsoft is evil because Microsoft, you need to pay. I mean, it's interesting to see the mindset, but we see that cloud has still a long way I think, at least in Berlin, for growing. I think we have a lot of space here to talk about Azure, to talk about cloud. I was discussing with Sara, I think 1 month ago, the same problems that we saw in Brazil happening with Azure, we are seeing the same things in here in Germany. Like people are afraid because the data is not in their desks anymore.
Security.
About security, the same concerns. So maybe it's a good thing because we knew, we saw what happened in Brazil, and we are seeing that the same thing in German. So the questions are the same in all over the world.
Yeah.
Not all over. If you go to the northern lands, that's Finland or Sweden, that's a different, because
Better
they are
worse?
open-minded. Yes, that's a different. If you say Brazilian is like Germany, we are behind the world. Yes. And the other way, if you go to Netherlands or you go to United Kingdom or Finland, they are open-minded. They are saying, yes, come on, we want to have it. So that's a different, and we see it's very interesting, Raphael, to see that Brazilian and Germany is not so a big difference.
No. I mean, companies in Brazil, they have the same questions as you guys have in here, like data privacy, if Microsoft is not stealing my data, if they are not seeing what I am hosting in the cloud. I mean, the same things. And even people with the talkings about, no, I'm not going to host my data at Microsoft. Why I would do that? To be honest, it's the same thing, and I think very easily German can go through it, and I think Azure will have a very good market in here, because it's good to have a competitor. Because currently it was only Amazon, right? And I think for every business that you run, I think it's good competition, and that brings great value to the customer.
Perfect. Very perfect. It was a nice talk. We are now talking about 1 hour and 10 minutes or 6 minutes. So it was very interesting how quick the time is going on.
Yeah.
We have to repeat it.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe we can do that in the next 2-3 months. Then we can give you another opinion about cloud and everything.
Or in German.
Or speak in German, maybe.
Yeah, in German. Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will try that.
Just a few words, maybe. Not all the talk, but maybe a few words.
Yeah.
And in this time, Hans and I will learn some Spanish words. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Or something out of Brazil. Okay, Hans, it's a deal.
We will do that, and we talk about learn some German. First, the things is German. We will do it another way. So I will collect this. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, Marcos, for giving us the great thinking about 2 months in Germany. And it was very interesting. You see the culture, you see the problem is the language. Now for us it's also a different language if we speak all in English. That's not so easy, but you have to learn that. And if you want to learn, you can learn it. And therefore it was very interesting to have it. You have you both here as a guest. That's I think that's a Brazilian connection or whatever we have to write in the speaker notes. But it's very interesting that you have give us such a great opinion, what you are thinking in this land. And therefore, it's very interesting to have it in the future in 2 or 3 months and do it the same thing and have a different step of that.
Yes, I think.
Yeah. Really thank you for inviting Hans, Rafael, and the opportunity.
Yeah, I do appreciate also, guys. Thank you very much for inviting. I think whenever you want to invite us, I will be very welcome to join you. And like we said, maybe in the next time we can try a few words in German, and you can try a few ones in Portuguese, and then we can do an exchange.
Genau.
Good idea. Okay, I think. Someone has to pay. Okay, I think it's my turn today.
Yes, you have to call them to Sara and to Marcos. If we are sitting in a cafe, one person, you know about sitting in these Irish pub. One person is calling and say, I want to have the bill, and is taking and want to pay. And Raphael is at this time to have our virtual Kaffeeklatsch and paying the things. So I have to say, Okay, bitte zahlen.
Oh.
Ich bin schon unterwegs.
So, Dankeschön.
No
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Okay.
Tschüss.
Ja. Dankeschön. Tschüss. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
I was born to a